missiles. Across the tarmac,
like as if they blinked. Hi guys,
welcome back again to the channel. Today we are going to be checking out the laughed at Britain's jet until it outflew the F-22.
really?
Okay,
Wow.
this is going to be very interesting, and let's get right into the video, guys.
I want to know which jet the British actually use. We've not really dived into that.
Okay, let me see. What's the name?
Tempest
British
fighter.
could refer to the next generation Tempest fighter, a sixth generation combat aircraft under development to replace the Typhoon. Alternatively, it could refer to the F-35B Lightning. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me see an image of it. Oh, that's bad. Badass, I mean. All right, let's get right into the video, guys.
called it slow, clunky, even a relic. The Americans joked the British jet should be in a museum, not on a combat trial with fifth-gen fighters. But high above the North Sea during a closed-doors NATO exercise, that old bird moved, not in a straight line, not in a panic, but with purpose. And when the F-22 pilot radioed, "Where'd she go?" command fell silent, because the radar said what no one could believe. The British jet had just locked onto the world's most advanced fighter from behind. Could your country's Air Force pull that off?
Wow.
Drop your answer in the comments.
Oh, no.
The hangar was quiet until the Americans showed up. At Langford Air Base in the British countryside, the RAF crews were used to routine drills, tea breaks, and the rhythmic roar of typhoons cutting through grey skies. But today was different. Today the Americans had flown in with their shining pride, the F-22 Raptor, sleek.
I actually wanted to say, I know this F-22 was the Americans that laughed at it. I just wanted to get into the video and actually find out who laughed at the British aircraft.
Oh.
When I saw F-22, I knew that it was the Americans, but I wanted to just know where.
Angular, designed to dominate, and they brought the attitude with it. "You guys still using that Euro whatever?" One of the US Air Force techs grinned, slapping the nose of his fighter like a trophy buck. "She's cute, like a museum piece with missiles." Across the tarmac, RAF Flight Lieutenant Jess Wren Walker heard it all. She wasn't assigned to fly. She wasn't even supposed to be on deck today. But she stood beside the maintenance crew, a rag in one hand, and her other hand tightening around a bolt wrench. The jet behind her, the British-built Typhoon, bore her squadron's faded insignia and years of underestimation. "Wren, let it go," whispered Sergeant Mathis, nodding toward the Americans. "They're just puffin' feathers. You know the Raptor reputation." "Yeah," Wren said flatly. "I've read the reports, but feathers burn." Over the PA system, the voice of Wing Commander Hargrove echoed across the base. "Exercise Hawk Rising begins in 30. Pilots and TT. EAMS prep for sim combat maneuvers. Typhoon versus Raptor. Full speed, full stealth, full sky." A few heads turned Wren's way. Not because they expected anything, but because they didn't. She wasn't a top pick. Not on paper. No flashy awards. No viral gun cam footage. No legendary last stands. But she had something else. Hours. Thousands of them. Logged at low altitude, high pressure, in aging birds and bad weather. She knew every hum, every flutter of the Typhoon's wing like it was part of her. She looked up as the American crews rolled their Raptors toward the runway. They moved like predators, smooth, untouchable. A USAF captain grinned as he passed Wren. "Don't blink. You might miss us." She didn't respond. She just tossed the wrench onto the toolbox, unzipped her flight suit halfway, and walked toward her Typhoon. Mathis blinked. "You're not—" "Apparently," Wren said, pulling on her gloves. "We're bringing antiques to the fight." And with that, she climbed in. The canopy sealed. The ground crew scattered. Her Typhoon purred to life with a sound less refined than the F-22's whisper.
Oh, yeah.
But there was power behind it, a rawness that didn't care for approval. And as both jets taxied to the edge of the runway, High Command watched from the tower above. The Americans leaned back in their chairs. The Brits leaned forward, and the skies waited. The sky over the
The Americans leaned back. You breathe, lean forward. There's a difference there,
The North Sea stretched wide and cloudless, a pale blue arena for the unexpected. Ren's Typhoon climbed in a tight spiral, her fingers light on the stick, her eyes dancing across the HUD. Below, waves rolled like velvet. Above, the Raptor mirrored her altitude, quiet and untouchable. At 28,000 feet, the voice of command crackled over comms. "This is Control. Hawk Rising parameters now include adaptive AI protocols. Pilots, simulate full engagement. Stealth, pursuit, weapons lock. You are now free to maneuver." She blinked. Adaptive AI? There was nothing in the pre-brief about that. No time for questions. Across the digital battle space, a small alert pinged in the corner of her screen. Note: enemy AI uplink confirmed. Target: Raptor. Ren's lips pressed into a line. Either this was a glitch, or someone just turned a flight exercise into a live algorithm test. She keyed her mic. "Langford, is this a training sim or a live combat emulation?" Silence. Then a voice she didn't recognize. "No safety rails this time, Lieutenant. Let's see what your antique can do." She exhaled. So that's how they wanted to play. Across the sky, the F-22 broke left hard. No warning, no chatter. Just a ghost, vanishing into radar shadow. And the game began. The Typhoon didn't have the Raptor's stealth coating, but it did have something else.
Okay.
Ren.
What's right?
She immediately dropped altitude, pulling 6 Gs as her Typhoon dove towards sea level. Vapor trails ripped behind her as she skimmed the water, using surface clutter to scramble the targeting AI. She knew the Raptor would try to get behind her. That's what it was built to do. The machine hunted from the rear, silent, invisible. But she didn't run. She danced. In the NATO command tower, the American generals leaned forward, their expressions tightening. Why is she diving? Is she panicking? Wait, she's jamming our radar lock. Meanwhile, the British observers said nothing, just watched. One of them, an old colonel with a scar across his temple, smirked. She's baiting it. Back in the sky, Ren kicked the Typhoon into a high G barrel roll, then straight up into a vertical climb, not to gain altitude, but to bleed speed. The F-22 overshot her by a breath. That's when she flipped. Pulled the Typhoon into an aggressive Cobra maneuver and reacquired radar lock, right on the Raptor's 6. Target locked. Her fingers hovered over the simulated trigger. The Raptor wobbled. For a split second, the Predator was prey. And in that silence, Ren muttered to herself, "You blinked." The Typhoon and Raptor tore through the sky like wolves in a knife fight, only this wasn't about stealth anymore. The AI had escalated the exercise. There was no reset button. Ren caught the flicker of vapor trails as the F-22 dove below her, then snapped upward, banking hard toward the sun, a classic flare tactic. The maneuver would force a human opponent to lose visual contact. But Ren wasn't just relying on her eyes. Her cockpit was alive with motion, altimeters twitching, HUD lines shifting, the threat indicator pulsing in waves. She followed the disturbance like a scent. "Still behind me," she whispered, eyes. The F-22 followed. The American pilot was pushing now. No comms, no friendly call signs. The man behind the stick had something to prove, and Ren knew what that felt like. She dropped the Typhoon to 30,000, then 20,000. Wind screamed across her canopy. Sea and sky began to blur. In the NATO tower, officers were standing now. Why hasn't the F-22 locked her yet? She's feeding it false telemetry. Look, she's dragging the AI off its axis. She's flying like the radar's a weapon. The British commander leaned closer to the screen and muttered, "Because she knows she is the weapon."
Strong
Back in the
words.
cockpit, Ren let the Typhoon fall another 1,000 feet. Just enough to make it look like she'd lost control. The Raptor committed. Boom. It surged ahead, right where she wanted it. Wren snapped the stick, yanked the throttle, and pulled the Typhoon into a reverse Immelmann, slinging herself up and over like a slingshot. The world flipped. The F-22 was right there. For the second time in 90 seconds, Wren had him dead to rights. Target locked. Tone confirmed. This time she didn't hesitate. Simulated fire. The system registered a kill. Beneath her helmet, Wren smiled. She didn't need a speech. She didn't need to scream. She just flipped the switch, silenced her radar, and leveled out. Let them figure it out on the ground. In the command center, the silence was thunderous.
Exactly.
A full kill.
A clean one.
Logged,
Confirmed.
replayed 3 times. One of the American techs removed his headset and whispered, "That wasn't supposed to be possible." "She doesn't care what's supposed to be," said the British colonel. Then he picked up the red phone marked Simulation Observer Authority and said calmly, "Send her up again. Let's see if it was luck." They told her it was a second test, a clean reset. But Wren could feel it in her bones the moment the second alert lit up her cockpit. Unmanned stealth unit deployed, high-risk pattern. A real drone, armed with real radar.
In fact, they have to send her up again. Then they need to confirm if it's not locked. How do you mean lock in a battle phase like that?
Oh God. They could not believe their eyes. And moreover, I like the fact that she made this statement, "You blinked." That was the epic. It felt like a hero story.
Yeah, it is a hero.
And judging by the signature, it was NATO grade, but American built. In the tower, no one was laughing anymore. The F-22 was still circling high above, wounded pride intact, but eyes locked on Wren's every move. And now, from the shadows of the digital cloud, a drone slipped in. Silent, fast, lethal. "Control," Wren radioed. "Are we running an override scenario?" Silence again. Then a flat voice answered, "Proceed, Lieutenant. Eyes on target." She shook her head. So this was it. Not a test. A demonstration. They wanted to push the Typhoon to failure, to prove that no 4th-gen aircraft could survive in a next-gen warspace. But Wren hadn't come to survive. She'd come to rewrite the rules.
Wow.
She killed her radar, killed her countermeasures, even killed her comms. And she did the one thing the AI couldn't calculate. She disappeared. No data, no projections, no expectations. Just instinct, just pilot. The drone swept the sky in a perfect arc, scanning for her position. It expected logic. It didn't find it. Wren came in beneath it, so low she could see her reflection in the ocean. She pulsed her thrusters for one burst of vertical lift, then flipped 90 degrees into a high-speed rolling climb, slamming straight into the drone's blind spot. At 400 feet. You want to see what an antique can do? The Typhoon's simulated cannon locked. One burst. The drone exploded into a shower of virtual debris. On every screen across Langford Tower, one line flashed red. Drone eliminated. System override denied.
Damn.
Back on the tarmac, Wren climbed down from her Typhoon. The F-22 pilot stood by his jet, arms crossed, watching her. He didn't speak. He just nodded. Once. Behind him, a group of officers from 3 different flags stood frozen. A NATO general muttered, "Well, I guess that answers that." Wren handed her helmet to Mathis, looked toward the control tower and said simply, "Never count out the pilot."
Yeah.
And from that day on, whenever new recruits asked why the RAF still trusted the Typhoon, the answer was simple. Because
Never
one
count.
pilot made the sky forget stealth, AI, and 5th-gen systems, and remember skill. If that gave you chills, welcome to Hidden Valor, where underdogs rewrite the legend. subscribe, stick around. We're just getting started.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Actually, it was about the craft, but it was more about the pilot.
It is the determination, and you see, pride gets you nowhere. You understand? It is hubris instead. But I love the grace in which he entered the arena. And I loved the pride that came with her. It was like as if they blinked.
But it actually walked out to her face like that stuff should be in the article. Forgetting the fact that that particular because I know the world hasn't gone into typical battle as
Yeah.
it was before, like the World War One, World War Two. That jet actually fought. It was used during the World War
Wow.
Two, like the kinds of jet that was used, and it fought beautifully, won a lot of battles. So now bringing it back now, and you thinking, okay, this thing cannot perform as much as
As a day.
yeah, it's actually undermining the
Funny enough, they actually introduced things that was very challenging. When they said at first, when she entered the this thing, they were like AI. I don't know what they call that thing again. And they were like, this was not in the briefing. Like, bro, you guys never included this. And I'm very well sure that the F-22 was actually well equipped in navigating those AI, whatever, because it is actually the newest gen of aircraft. And she's hearing that and like, what do I do? But you're like, it's just a casual Tuesday.
casualties.
Let's get up there. Let me show you what I can do.
She got a tea party up in the sky.
Definitely.
Now this is actually very amusing.
Yeah.
I love the interpretation. I love how he tells the story. It was just straight to the point, and he did not look down on any of those old gadgets.
Don't.
I know they say it belongs to the museum, but right now it's all about the pilot.
I think they sent the F-22 back to the museum.
Please let me know what you think about this down in the comment section. The nice day to like, subscribe. See you on our next one.
Bye.